All right, so I'm routing out that gigantic moon thing for our backdrop for the wedding, and I gotta have something to hold that up, and then also that something needs to be semi-mobile to move from the house to the restaurant where we're getting married, like a half-mile away, and then also has to have curtains and lights on it. So basically I need to build an archway. And that seemed like a really good reason to buy a tool that I kind of need. So, like, I'll always go and buy a pallet of material to machine customer parts or my own parts, whatever. And I have the Tahoe, right? That's my tow rig. I mean, the Datsun can put stuff in the back, but like not that much weight. Probably about as much weight actually as the landscape trailer. And so I usually use the landscape trailer, and then I've got to somehow ramp the pallet jack up into the back, and that's always a pain and hardly works. And a bunch of times I normally just drop the trailer off the hitch of the Tahoe, and then it just wheelies, and then I slide it out the back. This tool should help with that also. So really big 2-for-1 deal. And normally I would have gone to Harbor Freight to get their version, but it was like $200 more expensive than this one on Amazon, and I didn't have to go anywhere. So, introducing my new bed. Just kidding. Maybe. This is a A-frame crane, and I'm gonna put it together and then somehow figure out how to attach curtains. And then I'm gonna use the chain pull to hold the giant 4-foot diameter MDF moon. Yeah, so let's get after it. I'm not that heavy.